Welcome everyone to episode 193 of the Trust the Plan podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Jim.
And Jim, just like that, we're back to school. Summer's about over.
Summer's over, yeah. Kids are back in school.
Is that good?
You know, it just goes by too quick, right?
Yeah.
There's so many things you want to do during the summer, and you never seem to have enough summer to do it all. So,
well, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing. But I definitely am sad to see summer coming to an end for the weather point of view, right?
Yeah.
But then, we have football, so that's good.
Yeah, that's true. Start of football season. We'll have to put together our predictions again. We were pretty rock solid last time we did the Michigan season overview, weren't we?
Let's do it right now. I think we're going to win them all.
Run the table.
Yeah.
Even without Harbaugh for a few games.
So there's your analysis. Yep. For all of our MGO blog listeners, right? There it is. Also, we're sponsoring another Michigan football podcast, The Professor and the Pundit. So if you want to check that out, give Greg and Steve a little plug there. I think that's a fun one.
Really smart, really knowledgeable Michigan guys.
Very much so. So in episode 193 today, we are talking about this lady. A woman on TikTok says boomers are so confused as to why young Americans don't share the same work ethic or goals. So I think it's funny that the headline says boomers, right? I'm not a boomer, but I certainly think it's funny the way that she's saying this.
Like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, like it's a bad thing. Like they just don't get it.
Right?
They're so confused. And so basically, what she's saying is that because now we have more information than we did, a generation ago, we can be smarter and we don't have to work hard. So I think she's coming to the wrong conclusion here, right? Because we've known about, productivity gains with technology, and we learn with more information available, et cetera, et cetera. But the thing that comes to my mind is like, if you're building a house, you still have to swing the hammer, but then you can get a nail gun, which makes it easier to swing the hammer, so you can do more. Right, and not be so tired, right? With your arm, okay. But that's an example where we can be more productive, and we don't have to work as hard, but we're still working hard. Okay, we're still working hard. I think she's saying, hey, we don't have to work hard because we're smarter.
Yeah, that's interesting to say it that way. Like you don't have to work hard. Like almost like she's looking for a reason to not work. Like we're younger, we're smarter, we know what we're doing, so we don't have to work hard. We can. That's why we got our Netflix subscription, right? That's what I'm picturing as she's saying this thing is, doing everything possible to get out of being at work and go doing something non-productive. I guess I don't know.
And then and so you were also offline talking about the roof, right? So what was that example?
Yeah, I mean, in your analogy, right? If you're not swinging the hammer, hitting the nails in, but you got a nail gun, you can do the job twice as fast. Well, it sounds to me like her mindset is do the job twice as fast and then get out of there.
Call it quits at lunchtime.
Call it quits at lunch, right? But the first thought I had is, man, if I can get the roof done twice as quick, why not find a second roof to do and knock out two, right? So use that innovation, use that technology, use that education to be more efficient, to be more productive, to get yourself further ahead. And the only way to do that is continuing to work hard.
That's right. I love the idea of doing two houses in one day and getting double the production, double the productivity. But the thing that really drives me crazy here is, the goals part, right? Like I realize like we could frame this many different ways and say, hey, I have a retirement goal of age 65, right? Well, that's a classic boomer retirement age, right? Like 65, based on Social Security and Medicare and pensions and everything. Okay, but just because we know more doesn't mean you don't have to save money and have the finances, looking good and able to be able to retire. I don't know if she's saying, hey, my goal, instead of having an age 65 goal, it's an age 55 goal, or it's a goal where I can, start new careers and have multiple different jobs, in my working career. I'm not sure, but I definitely think that just because we are more productive doesn't mean that we don't have to set any more goals. So that was a double negative. We still need to have goals, and we still need to work hard to get to those goals.
Right.
Well, maybe if we're more productive, it's easier to reach the goal.
Right.
But then you just level up and kick that can down the road, get a better goal.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of the FIRE movement. Remember we talked about that in the past, where, and maybe this is where she's coming from, is she doesn't want to work forever, right? She doesn't want this long career at the same company, till she's 65. She wants to retire early. Well, that's great, right? But when we've talked about this FIRE movement in the past, the conclusion that we always come to is you have to work hard. You have to put away a lot of money and be very disciplined on your cost of living and all these things, right? There's a lot that goes into it. So, if that's your goal, is to do something like that, to retire early and not spend your whole life just working away, well, there's no opportunity to get hard work out of the equation. You know what I mean? Like,
you have to work even harder
right.
in that age 20 to 40 range
in
order to save to the million. And by the way, I'm glad you brought that up, because we did those podcasts in 2019. So look, so obviously the markets are higher now, but think about this. You have $1 million and you're living on 40,000. That's the FIRE example. Okay. It's incredibly flawed. Okay. Because in March of 2020, the S&P went down 35%. Okay. And your $1 million is now worth 650, and you're retired with no other income source.
Right.
Okay. Big trouble. Okay. It rebounded. Okay. But like, emotionally, imagine that time period. And also imagine if you made a wrong step at that point by cashing out or whatever.
I mean, you keep taking withdrawals out.
Right.
Now you're way over 4% if you're taking the same amount.
Yes, way over. So then you fast forward to 22, okay? And the market was down 27% as of like October 12th, and then it closed out the year at like minus 19. But again, right, your $1 million is worth 810,000 in that kind of example.
Right.
And now your $40,000 withdrawal is a 5% withdrawal instead of 4%. Right. So it's just very problematic. Right. It's the margins are like so razor thin, it's not worth it.
And now you've been through it twice, right? Now you had this big drawdown, and it comes back, so you think, phew, okay. And then it does it again just a few years later. Like that, like you said, the mental and the emotional part of that equation is really difficult to get through when you know that that's your source of income and you see it fluctuating like that.
And it's easy to look back and say, hey, the market's averaged 8% or whatever over the last 100 years. Hey, if I'm only taking out 4, it's great. But we know that it's the market is very violent, and 8% might be the average, but it's anything but average in any given year.
Right.
And it just I'm not willing to risk that, because you could have a 10-year lost decade like in the 70s, or from 99 to 09, where you average 0. Right. You're not getting 0 every year, but like you're having good years and bad years, but you're averaging 0 over 10. It's just not going to work. The margins are too thin to start with. So I think it's fun to talk about. It's fun to talk about the lottery, that 1.3 billion.
Right.
But it's just it's kind of a fool's errand, in my opinion. So I'd rather instead focus on saving all that money like they do, and they do a great job of it. But instead of just saying I'm going to a full life of leisure on the 4% rule, I'd rather have them, do a different job that they like. Maybe they don't make as much, but it's low stress, like something that brings you fulfillment.
Right.
So you don't feel like you're working, but easier said than done.
Yeah.
Okay. So any closing thoughts on this TikTok lady?
Just a couple weeks ago, we did a podcast and we talked about, the student loans and the lifeline, right? And if you are presented with an opportunity, what do you do with it? So to me, they were presented with an opportunity. If she's right, and this younger generation is just smarter than all of us and everything else, well, there's your opportunity. What are you going to do with it? You got to take it and use it to make yourself more efficient, to make yourself more productive, to continue to work hard, not use it as an excuse to not work hard, but to continue to work hard and get yourself ahead in life.
Totally agree. And if you'd like to learn more about us or have a conversation about your financial plan or your portfolio, please reach out to us for a second opinion at peakwm.com.